All right. Welcome to another Sale and Scale Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Dmitry, and with my co host.
I'm Jaron Rabman. Hey, everybody.
All right. And today we have a very special guest. Today we've got Mark Heise. He's the owner of a print on demand business specializing in branded merchandise for small businesses and nonprofits. With over 40 years of marketing experience, Mark dives into how promotional items can create lasting impacts and strengthen brand loyalty. Today he's going to be breaking down the print on demand model. He's going to share some success stories and explore why branded merchandise is a powerful tool for long term marketing success. So, first off, Mark, thank you for being here. We really appreciate your time. And we're looking forward to this episode and you getting to learn from you. I know you've got quite a bit of experience. I think you've been in marketing longer than I've even been alive, which is
Well, now make me feel old. There you go.
no. But hey, listen,
I think Mark carries that wisdom with him with that beautiful white beard.
oh yeah,
That's the year. That's the years of client relations.
Yeah, that's the white part at any rate.
All right. So, Mark, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what you've been doing all these years, and then how you got to where you are now with your print on demand business.
Well, I started doing marketing when I was in high school. Got a degree in journalism public relations when I was in college and was a member of the American Marketing Association way back then as a student. Started doing printing in high school with doing silk screen. Back then, as you point out, my age is up there. And so back then, we didn't even do the photo work. We actually hand cut lacquer screens, and it was a very tedious, messy process. I'll fast forward a few years. Did some work with media and marketing in media. Did some work with for the Air Force. Then I went and lived on a sailboat for 3.5 years working as a sound engineer and video producer, and have had a pretty good life. Landed hard and ended up in Ohio. So going from the East Coast and the ocean to Ohio was a little less of an adventure than I might have liked. But got here, got married, had a daughter, and my daughter is my partner in the company. We started in the promotional business formally, as opposed to just general marketing and print on demand. We started that about 10 years ago. And I started it as a side hustle. And I started it because at that time, the only one doing print on demand was Cafe Press. And at that time, they were, to give them the credit where credit is due, they were early on the scene. And anybody who starts out early on the scene knows that you go through some questionable quality problems. I'm trying to get everything wrung out and how you're actually going to do business. And that's what I experienced with them. And I said, I can do this better. And so I did some research. At the time, I was the Global Human Resources Webmaster for the Relics Group, which is Reed Elsevier, LexisNexis, Elsevier Science, and running a website in 9 different languages. Decided that told my wife that my retirement plan was to go out and buy a $1,000 print system so that I could do small run print on demand with a minimum of 1, and that's where we started. It in my basement. Now we've got 2,000 square feet of production space. Moved on from direct to garment printing into sublimation, embroidery, direct to film printing, and UV direct to film printing for decals and that type of thing.
Wow. Okay. So you've gone through quite a bit to get to just now, but I bet your wife was thrilled when you told her your retirement plan.
She was more skeptical when she found out I was spending $27,000, but she was extremely happy when I moved out of the basement, and so she could get to her Christmas ornaments, and when we moved into our production facility. Another reason that I did this is honestly my daughter, who is a true blessing. She became quite the graphic artist. She started out doing art at a very young age, and she did an amazing piece for me for Father's Day when she was 10 years old in pen and ink, freehand. She did a tree of life, And I looked at that and go, okay, now I've got to figure out how to help her monetize her creativity. And so that's why she's become a partner in the business. And she may even walk in here in the next hour or so. But
Oh, well, if we see her, we'll say hi.
well, there we go. That's the reason we started the company, was to fill a need that we saw, that I saw, trying to work with small teams, which is why one of our vertical markets is adventure sports. We deal with small teams and that type of thing. That's where we started, and we continue to grow, moving on from just doing our own print on demand to a full service promotional items
So
company.
tell us a little bit more about the types of clients that you work with. I know you said adventure sports. I know you handle a lot of, you know, like uniforms and other things for sports teams and other things like that too. Correct?
Correct. We do. So the adventure sports part, we do a number of online stores for some nonprofit organizations that
Hmm.
specialize in adventure sports. The largest right now being the Buckeye Trail Association, which is an amazing group of people. It's the only long trail in the United States completely operated, funded, and maintained by volunteers. And it's the eighth longest trail in the United States and the longest loop trail in the world. So it's all within the state of Ohio. So that's kind of it's a cool customer. One of the things that we decided early on is that weren't going to have customers. We weren't going to have clients. We were going to have partners. And so all of the organizations and small businesses we work with, we partner with them.
Hmm.
Sometimes they initially they think it's annoying because I'm asking too many questions and trying to get to know them. Back in my sound engineering days, I used to say acknowledge what the customer wants and then give them what they need, and that's the philosophy we've got here as well.
Hmm.
Is we want to find out, we understand what you want, but what do you really need, and how can we help you make your goals as far as your marketing goals. Um, and
So maybe elaborate a little bit more on that, like maybe a little bit so that people understand, because your business is very unique, and the people who are listening to us might not quite wrap their heads around it. So when you talk about partnerships, how do you facilitate that with your partners? What kind of synergy are you looking for when you go, okay, I want to partner, and who are the people you say to them, thank you very much, I'm going to walk away. I don't think we're fit for each other.
that's the important part, is I want to make sure that I'm not wasting your time or money. Time being more important, because quite frankly, I can repay your money, but I can't repay you time. And so what I want to do is I want to get to know my clients. I want to find out what it is that they want to achieve, not only financially, but what they want to achieve as far as their public relations, their public persona. And then we go through and we curate items that would assist them, that we can help them get, not only get their brand out, but in many cases help them raise funds as well. That was one of our key the key reasons we actually thrived during COVID, was we partnered with a number of nonprofits and said, you're having problems getting your name out there and your message out there. You're having problems raising money. Let's see what we can do together to make that happen without you being able to have events, and without you being able to meet with potential clients or donors.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And so, very simply, we do meet with them. We spend a lot of time talking it through. It'll be maybe 3 or 4 meetings before we finally say, okay, this is what we can help you do. Or you're right. There are a number of times where we say, you know what, I don't think this is a good fit. I don't think we would do well as partners, and I'll recommend another organization or agency for them to work with.
Now let's backpedal a little bit. So not I'm sure not everybody knows exactly what print on demand industry really is. Can you go back and kind of explain it in simple terms so that the audience knows what's print on demand, and then because I know, like, for example, in your case, you give a storefront to, like, say, the nonprofit with their branded merchandise, and that's not super common in most people's eyes. Most people are like, oh, I got to buy like 50,000 t-shirts and I got to print it all myself and put it on there. So can you explain that print on demand component and how you partner with them and what you offer them as far as like the benefits?
Right. So everything we do is digital, unlike the silkscreen industry. And as I said, that's where I started, was in the silkscreen industry. And in order for anybody to make any money, whether that's me as the decorator or my clients to make any money, they would have to buy a large purchase, usually 300 pieces or more, in
Hmm.
order to make that profitable. And they have to know what they're buying. So they may buy X number of smalls, X number of mediums, X number of larges, and as they go through that stock, they end up with maybe 15 mediums left and four three X's, and okay, now what do I do? In our particular case, we wait for the order, and we don't even order the blank shirt in, or the blank item, whether it's a shirt or a mug or water bottle, whatever, until we get the order, and then we produce that item. Our minimum is one, and so we can go ahead and produce an item. As a matter of fact, today I'm embroidering 4 shirts for an organization that went through some problems, and now they're finally back on their feet again. And they were excited to find out, yeah, I've still got your store. Yes, I still have your designs. And yes, I can still I could still make limited quantities for you and make sure that your folks, your members or your clients are able to proudly wear your logo on their on their shirts, helping spread their name and their brand, but also being able to send money back to the organization. That's especially important as we're going into the holiday season. As an example, for the Buckeye Trail Association, they're going to be running a promotion for their membership, where you buy a membership, they get a free Christmas tree ornament, and they have no idea. I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, it was over 100 people. Last year, for whatever reason, whether it was marketing or for whatever reason, they only had 30. But it didn't matter. They didn't get stuck with a limited edition 70 extra Christmas ornaments. We're making these and shipping these on demand. And because we handle everything from soup to nuts, from bringing the blank in to decorating to shipping, the organization doesn't need to worry about anything. I just send them a check at the end of the day. If it's one of the stores, or if it's a promotion that they're doing that I'm fulfilling on demand, then we figure out how much I've done, and then they send me a check at the end of the day.
Wow.
So basically, because you already have access to the volumes of material or shirts or whatever it is that you're printing on, got all the equipment, you already keep that in your own warehousing or your own facility, and then you pass along those savings to the partners, and then you just basically do all the fulfillment and doing it as low as one piece, which is that to me that's wild that you can just do one piece. And what kind of margins or earnings do the typical partners make? Like, let's say on a T-shirt or something.
15 to 25%, and
That's not bad.
No, especially considering that's zero risk to them.
Right, nothing out of their own pocket. I mean, okay, that's actually phenomenal. I mean, making
So
that is great. Okay.
So let me ask you this. I mean, I've done a little bit of printing, really. I mean, literally a granular of sand up against what you have done and the situations that you've been in. But nowadays we see a lot of people just, doing side hustles where they're starting these like small businesses where they get your T-shirt printed. I can print you one T-shirt. I can print you 5 T-shirts, and drop ship it right to you. Are those the kind of organizations and small businesses that you would be looking to work with? Or those are like, that's not my cup of tea. I want to go. And I understand you work with obviously the bigger institutions, but are those kind of the down to that granular level you're prepared to go with clients, with partners?
It depends. And so we try and stay away from being the retail market for somebody, unless they're an organization. That said, we are happy to help and mentor quite a few folks who are trying to open those side hustles. As an example, we did more than just the products. We do the direct to film printing, which is digital heat transfers, and we send them all over the country. And we don't make the shirts, but we provide those to folks who have heat presses and can make the shirts themselves. And so we've actually done the and I'm not allowed to say which organizations, but from very large companies, we've sent off the heat transfers to companies who are just pressing the shirts and sending them out, and they're none the wiser. They think that the little guy who's got the heat press in his garage is actually doing all of that work when we're doing the printing for them, and they're just applying them to the shirts. So we're actually pretty lucky. We were talking about, Dmitry, I don't really warehouse any shirts.
No. Okay. So you just have good relations with manufacturers.
We are in a golden triangle of sorts. We're between Dayton, Columbus, and Cincinnati. And in Cincinnati are 2 of the largest apparel warehouses in the country, one for Sanmar and one for SNS Activewear. So I can get and there are another 2 that are up in Chicago. So it's a 1-day ship for me to get any blank items in. Or if I have to, if I've got something seriously fast that needs to be turned around, it's a 45-minute drive for me to go and pick up the blanks an hour after I place the order.
Okay, right. And I'm assuming you get, wholesale pricing on everything. But I know you mentioned one time that you can pick up as little as like two pieces from your distributors. Is that true, or like how does it work normally?
That's
Do you still
true.
pick up? Oh, wow. Okay. So you
That's
just do
true.
enough volume that they're okay with you coming and picking up one, two, three shirts, for example. That's wild.
Absolutely.
So for the audience, the everyday person, yeah, good luck with that. You're paying.
You would be surprised. It's the major savings is in the shipping. Typically, these folks, if they're going to ship it to you, they'll ship it to you for free if you're placing an order of $200 or more. But as an example, Alpha Broder, if you live close to a FedEx store,
Mhm.
if you buy $50 worth of merchandise, they'll ship it to the FedEx store for $5. So there are a lot of people. This is really a lucrative business for somebody who wants to get started in a small business that's a side hustle. And as I said, we actually mentor and help a number of people do that, and we're happy to do it.
Well, if anybody needs that mentorship or anything, make sure you reach out to Mark because
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I asked that question, because a lot of people in today are looking for those side hustles. A lot of people like that ability to produce locally for their local, their local
community.
community, and be involved in their local community. Exactly. Those who are out there who are listening to us and want to get involved, reach out to Mark. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he's all set up to rock and roll.
But and I know I've spoken to folks for a while, and you're of the same opinion that I am, and it goes back to that whole giver's gain mentality. But it's like I tell our partners is your success is my success, and when I make you successful, we're both making money.
Yep. Yep. I mean, it's the same thing with us. We're firm believers in that partnership mentality. That's why our slogan is "Sail together, scale together." It's the same concept. It's about relationships, and nowadays more than just customers. It's not about a customer; it's about that relationship you can build with them. They become partners, friends, whatever you want to call it, at some point. And yeah, it's that's true. Now, okay, so let's say somebody's interested. Let's say you've got do you ever have like sports teams, like what kind of like let's say college or not college, let's say high school sports teams and those types of companies? Are they good clients for you? Or are these the types of people that are reaching out to you?
They're great clients for me, and we can do some spectacular things because we have been in the business as long as we have, and the relationships that we have with our vendors. I'll give you a really good example. Is I've got a sports team basketball camp coming up for a school just north of us in Troy, and they wanted to know if they could get cut and sew shirts done, but they want to make sure they wanted to have the kids' names on the backs of all of these shirts.
That's unique.
It is, and I've got a relationship that we've developed with a cut and sew shop that they're actually turning them around. They're hooded long sleeve T-shirts, full bleed print on them. The cool design, blue flames, and the churches. Well, it's Troy Christian, but their logo on it. The that we're able to turn those around to them for $25 a piece. So
What?
yeah, each one printed individually with a different name on it.
Yeah, that's
Whoa.
what I'm saying. Yeah,
Because I know like if you go on like Amazon has some print on demand kind of stuff from like different vendors, but it's always just like very basic. Like you can barely change anything or customize anything, and you're paying like 30-40 bucks minimal
absolutely.
or
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
So the pricing is pretty pretty good.
Well,
yeah.
and that's that's the reason that we have the relationships that we do. And like I said, you tell us what you want, and then we'll tell you what you need, and we can show you. Originally, they were just wanting some off the shelf shirts, and they were expecting to pay the same amount of money, and we were just going to basically print the names and press them on the back. And I said, well, wait a minute, no, if you want something spectacular, let me show you this, and we can do it for the same price point that you were getting from a vendor before.
So let me ask you. I mean, we just said like sports teams, faith-based organizations, but what is, maybe tell us some of the uniquer organizations that have reached out to you that people wouldn't think of, that have reached out, and we see them every day. We just don't think that this is something that's done by an organization like yours. We think that, oh, though they've reached out to a huge production company, they've got this massive machine behind them, but in actuality, they rely on your capabilities.
Sure. Well, okay. As I said, I can't.
No names, but more
Yeah.
like the genre, the style.
Large,
Marching band.
large large automobile manufacturers, large online retailers, large organizations that are global tech giants.
Wow.
We've had some of our products that we haven't even made the shirts that are now all over Europe. We work with it. We work with a social justice group in here in Dayton, and we ended up with our our garments as a part of their program over in Croatia. It's amazing that what folks are looking for, and it's more. I love the look on people's faces, and I'll give you an example. We had one faith organization come over, and no, I'll give you a better example. Locally, our power utilities are run by our municipality, by our village, Yellow Springs, and they were looking for something that they could take with them, because they were going over to the Navajo Nation to do some power work, to try and help build their infrastructure. And they said, "Is there something you can do for us?" I said, "Sure." And provided them with UV blocking shirts that their crews could wear while they're working out in the desert, and that type of thing. And they called me from on site, and they said, "Hey, our partners here at the Navajo Nation are in love with the shirts that you made us. Can you make us 10 and ship them to us?" And 2 days later, I had them on the reservation for them.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
Like hearing that kind of flexibility is like, I haven't seen it anywhere, and I've worked in marketing for a while, ordering promotional materials, this and that, and pricing's never the point where you've been talking about. I haven't seen flexibility, and the timing has been always a lot slower and a lot longer. So it really shows that you've got great relations, you've got good distributors, you've got great capabilities. You're able to turn things around that fast. I think the thing that took the longest there to send those shirts was probably the shipping to get to there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean that was one of those situations in which I placed the order. I drove down to Sanmar, picked up the garments, came up and it printed them and shipped them off, and it was a 2-day ship.
That's amazing. I mean, I've been done some work in the on product demand printing, but for clients and things like that, I've reached out over the years. And as you said, it's creating the graphic and getting it printed is part of the battle, but then finding the price. I mean, your pricing is fantastic. As you said, the quantities that everybody has problems with small quantities. Big quantities is not a problem. Everybody wants to throw in those orders of 1,000, 2,000, but when you come down to the 10, the 20, the 30, for the small organizations, there are more companies out there that need 20 and 30 items than that need 20,000. So it's amazing what you do.
Especially like now, if we take a shift towards promotional materials, let's say, now going back to like the traditional marketing realm, where most small businesses, the way that they're using it, instead of like print on demand for selling shirts or whatever for your nonprofit, right? Let's go back to like an average business that's going to go to a trade show. Nobody likes having to order like a couple thousand units of something just to have it sitting in their closet at their office, because they didn't hand them all out. Pens and this and that. So tell us. So everything is just one. Like you could print just one pen, like
No,
if you wanted. I was
no,
about to say. I was going to say.
no. Well, okay. That said, if you needed one pen, I could get you one pen. I'll give you a really good example of that as well. Last holiday season, we're the regional headquarters for the Rails to Trails Conservancy for the Great Lakes region here in our village, and the manager for this region came over and said, I have a problem. Said Washington messed up. They didn't get the design and the order paid for in time for a recognition event that we're having in Wisconsin next week. I need 150 tumblers, full color, and they had some specific requirements with a lid and a closable lid and things like that. And I said, well, I can't give you the brand that you wanted because that brand, they require that they decorate their own. But I can get you close, and I can get you your requirements, and I can get it to you within 5 days so that you can drive them up with you when you go up to Wisconsin. So that's a situation in which normally, to be honest with you, for 150 pieces, I might have had another company produce those for me, and I would pass that on. We do the example of the basketball shirts I spoke about earlier. I'm not making those. I don't do cut and sew, but I've got a company that does.
So you pass along the savings, and you want to help them out. That's mostly what you're doing.
Correct. But in this particular case, he could have told me that he needed 5 of them, and I could have made him 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on some of the things I'm limited on. Like to mass produce pens, that's another story, as you say, And besides, it's cheap. Pens are cheap.
Yeah, most people are not going to order one pen, but it's an extreme.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
So, so just maybe tell people a little bit about like what are the items that most that you kind of work with. I know you've said
Almost,
apparel on product. A lot of people don't understand what is on product printing. How far do you go? Would you, or do you go as far as like a car, wrapping a car? That's an on product printing, but that's a whole different ball of wax.
That's a completely different skill set. So I'm not going to wrap a car. Will I put your hours on your glass for a business? Absolutely. Doing decals for businesses, doing individual items, doing T-shirts. One of the things that we do as a service to our community, to our local chambers, if we've got a new business that opens in town, we'll print a custom cutting ribbon for them so that it has the logo of the business and something that they can keep as a memento of their opening their business. And that gives me an opportunity to meet with them and say, give me your logo, and oh, by the way, these are the other things that I can do.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we love to do, so we make T-shirts. The strangest thing that we make is we make waterproof maps. We print waterproof maps for the Buckeye Trail Association, and those are print on demand too. And that's an interesting thing as well, because the maps change periodically. They have to change routes and that kind of thing, and so they don't need to worry about going out and having a commercial printer print off their waterproof maps and have a whole stack of them that they're going to have to throw away now because they've had a major reroute. They can just send me the file for the reroute, and we keep maybe 5 to 10 copies on hand to ship out with our orders. But so we lose 5 or 10 sheets instead of losing a ream of paper. But we do that kind of thing. We do custom decals. We do T-shirts. We do mugs. We do water bottles. We do embroidery on anything from polo shirts to duffel bags, that type of thing. We print on backpacks and duffel bags as well, depending on what your price point is, what kind of impression you want to make on a client. We can pretty much make anything one-off if we have enough time, and sometimes enough money. But we stay away from the large items. We stay away from wrapping trailers or wrapping cars and that kind of thing. We just don't have that type of thing. We don't, while we don't do banners, we can get banners. We don't do tents. We can get tents, the branded tents, that type of thing. And we have good relationships with local vendors, which also makes people really happy that I'm not getting it from China. I'm getting it from Columbus, kind of thing.
Nice.
So yeah, it's, there's not a lot that I can't get.
Right. So that's why I kind of took the extreme and went all the way to car wrap, because people think, it's a product. And I want to shift for a second because I know I can talk to you about printing and processes and inks but and I'm going to bore a lot of people. I know we'll go giddy about it. But our listeners, I don't think that's kind of what, that's their vein. I wanted to more ask you about your business and how you go about marketing yourself, because you're very unique. So you're a trailblazer in everything that you do. So how do you go about approaching yourself? How do you go introducing yourself to people that they go, aha, I actually need this guy. This is the guy I've been looking for.
So a lot of our marketing, vast majority of our marketing has become word of mouth. People call us out of the blue, which is kind of cool. But the way we market ourselves is we like to identify a new organization or somebody new to us at any rate, or a lot of times a brand new business. And because our minimum is one, we'll find their logo. We'll find it on the internet. We'll scrape it. If it's not up to our quality standards, we'll even go out and get it, get it turned into a vector so that I can go ahead and have a clean, crisp logo. And then I'll walk into their shop with a decal or a shirt or a mug, or depending on what it is. And a good example of that is we just had a local tattoo parlor open up. We did a ribbon for them, but I wasn't able to make that ribbon cutting, so I hadn't met them, but I had their logo. And so I turned that into some decals, walked in, gave them the decals. They absolutely loved that. Started a conversation. They talked about how they used to be into printing shirts. They used to do silk screening, and they're tattoo artists and digital artists are not that far apart.
Yeah.
And so because of the same problems that we were talking about, having to stockpile shirts and especially a tattoo artist, they want things to be in full color. Got to talking with them. They had a heat press. They had been purchasing, ironically, heat transfers from a very large company who I actually had introduced them to the digital heat transfer process when it first came out. But they were buying them from them at twice the price of what I sell them for. And because I walked in with their logo on a decal and they were able to see the quality, and we got to have that discussion, we're going to be providing all of their heat transfers for their shirts. They're going to continue making their own shirts, but we're providing the heat transfer so that they're able to do it at not only at a lower price, but it's nice to have somebody local that you can walk in and get it from their shop if they need it quickly, as opposed to waiting for it, 3 days for it to ship.
So I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish that off quickly. I'm going to quickly finish that. The key takeaway was here. Everybody that understand the marketing, Mark physically walks into and introduces himself with a product in hand. We don't. We live in a digital world today. A lot of the marketing is done online. People don't, I think, grasp the power of just knock on the door, walk in, and introduce yourself. Having that personal relationship is sometimes key. I just wanted to follow it up with that.
No, yeah, well, it's going back to that giver's gain mentality from BNI, which is how we met Mark. You're coming in, gift in hand. You got that olive branch, sampling of your work before they even asked for it, and you're just giving them like, hey, check this out. It's my gift for you, for your time, for coming, for letting me talk to you.
And it's their logo. It's their product. It's, it's already them, as opposed to me walking in and giving them something with my logo on it. So that's an important aspect of it is especially somebody who's brand new, wow, he cared enough to actually make something with my logo for my brand new business.
And do you do the same thing with those the custom ribbons, or is that something they order?
Oh, that's something. I have a great relationship with the local chamber. They let me know when they've got a ribbon cutting. They already know that I need a copy of the logo, so they get me a copy of the logo. I print the ribbon, and then the only marketing for me on it is on each end is one of our logos, and we send a card with the ribbon saying congratulations on opening your new business. We hope this brings you luck. Please accept this memento from us to encourage you to continue to grow.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you're using promotional materials to drum up business. All right. So now this is where I want to jump back into now we're going to go full circle. We're going to bring this back to marketing now for small businesses and how they can start utilizing, promotional materials, t-shirts, branded, collateral, things like that. Because businesses don't really always think about that from the visual standpoint and how you can use it to open doors for yourself. Right. So, and brand yourself too. That's the whole other side that we haven't even talked about. Let's say you're a local plumbing company, you got a fleet of people. everybody should be wearing a uniform with the same logo, the same look. Every car should have the same decals on it, right? Like these are all things that you got to have someone like Mark to be able to create.
The
Right.
one thing that we like to say is that promotional items are the one form of advertising that your customers will thank you for,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
That's true.
anything else is an interruption to your day, whether that's a pop up on Facebook or a commercial on TV. You're going, we give you the opportunity to hand your customers and uh, your prospects something with your name on it that they're actually going to thank you for. As a matter of fact, we're starting our own. You're talking about us doing it. We do it for ourselves. We walk our own walk. We're starting a promotion right now where anybody who signs up for our brand new mailing list, because we don't want to spam somebody that doesn't want our messaging. We will give you a promotional item with your name on it, with your logo on it. Just send us your logo along with your subscription, and we'll go ahead and send you something back with your name on it.
That's awesome. Now, so let's now dive into the practical marketing applications, some of utilizing the things that you're able to print, right? Because we've already talked about like your business, the model, how you do things, right? But let's now full circle. What are the ways that people can utilize your promotional materials, your graphic, printing to shirts and other things like that? How can they use that to their advantage or to drum up business for themselves?
Well, I'll give you a good example. A new company that opened up called Lightscapes Ohio. They do custom holiday lighting. It's jellyfish lighting where it's permanent lighting on a home or a building that you can change for
For
the
that.
holidays, whatever. You can change it online through the internet, through Wi-Fi. And I went ahead and provided them with all of their uniforms and said, here's a great idea. I gave them some decals. I said, use these decals. You can put them on your control boxes. Um, the the other, so they've got people running around with their uniforms. They found that people love their logo and love the merchandise. We put some PVC patches on hats that people are eating up. And so now they're wanting to give their customers a hat when they go ahead and do one of these installations. They provide their customer the hat. The whole idea is, and this is any small business, if you can provide your customer with something that, first of all, they're going to ask for, second of all, they like enough that they're going to wear it, and now they've just become your ambassador. So they're going to go out wandering around, and somebody's going to say, well, Lightscapes Ohio, what's that? Okay, and explain what it was that they did for them. Starts an opportunity for that referral. And there you go. I can't see the hat because
It's just as an elevator company here in Florida. And I had it and I've been wearing it randomly. I don't even do business with them, but I got it as a memento at a golf tournament. And I have it and it works for me to go out for a walk or whatever else. And I'm just a walking billboard for these people.
Well, and so here's another thing. We talk about you were joking about pens earlier, and pens, are one of the least expensive promotional items that you can actually get to give away. But here's the thing: everybody needs a pen, and every time and I've got a pen that I've had for 8 to 10 years, and I keep
Mm-hmm.
buying bills for it because it was a quality pen. It was given to me by Subaru of America, and I love that pen. And I'm always using that pen, and Subaru is always on my mind. And it's just that reinforcement of yeah, my Subaru is great to drive, and that's useful. Right, exactly. But now I've got a pen, and that's useful. So it becomes and when you think about a television commercial, or you think about a billboard, billboards even, or a newspaper article, that's going to stay in somebody's mind 10 minutes, maybe,
Yeah,
if
no,
you're lucky.
100%.
Especially with digital billboards today, you can't even guarantee that your ad's going to be there when a prospect you would want to reach out to is actually going to be passing it. But that pen's always going to be there. It's going to be in their hand. It's something useful to them. So it's advertising that solves a problem for your client or your prospect.
Yeah. Well, the key thing to note here, is this is what I always tell clients still, though. Your promotional material does need to be intentional. All right, you don't just print something random and just to give it away, because it needs to have some value to them, or you have to be in an industry where it makes sense to to want to be on top of mind for things that like plumbers, electricians. These are all things that like you don't know when you're going to need it. So that fridge magnet, that pen or whatever, handy somewhere in the house, they're going to remember. I got to call this person because I've got their info right here, right? So things do have to be intentional. Like, you don't want to just, let's say you're, XYZ company, you're just giving people thumb drives away for no reason. What are they going to, they're not going to understand what the purpose of it was, or what are you going to have on there, things like that. But, if you're in an industry that you want to be top of mind, you get repeat business, definitely want to have good promotional material.
Yeah, I mean, in today's day and age, there's a restaurant around the corner from me. When you go in and you order and you sit down at your table, you check when you're time to leave. They bring the card swiping device to your table, but they give you one of those fancy pens that's got the pen comes out of, but it's also got that fuzzy thing so you can touch the screen and not use your finger. And they give you the pen. And they give you the pen. Yeah, they give you the pen with the restaurant's name on it. So now you go home, you've got that pen in your hand, and it didn't cost them very much. And you're always top of mind. You're going to have that by their phone. You're going to have it on the table. You might have it in your car, but you're going to remember that restaurant because one is you might hopefully had a good meal, but two is you're top of mind to them whenever you see their device, their pen, and you remember it. Oh, that was really cool. They gave me a pen.
Well, now
I don't
go
know
ahead,
if you
go ahead.
guys have Huntington Bank down there or not,
I'm not sure.
but the one of the things that they've done, and I wish I had had their account, but they actually found the best pen that they could possibly find. It's not an expensive pen, but it writes really well. And their customers will actually go into their branches and ask them for extra pens because they write so well. And they've continued that. It's kind of like Costco and the $1.50 hot dog deal. It's top of mind for their customers, and they identify Huntington Bank with these pens, and they're constantly using these pens, and people are seeing them using these pens. They're somebody, the coolest promotion I once saw was somebody who ordered pens that say "Steal this pen," and it's got the name of the company. We did a promotion. How does your marketing measure up? And we gave away measuring tapes.
Yep.
We have realtors that will brand things. First of all, we have one realtor that their business card is actually seed paper, and so if their business cards get thrown away, it's going to yield wildflowers. Um, and they encourage people, say, if you don't use me, or if you're done using me, just toss the business card away. But at the closing of every house, they'll give away a set of water bottles or a set of mugs or something that somebody can use in their home. And now this person's going to be entertaining, and they're going to see that
Mm-hmm.
logo. And the nice thing about it, going back to the minimum is one thing. I've got one realtor, absolutely amazing. What she does is every time she closes on a house, she orders a set of mugs. On one side is her logo. It says "Welcome Home." On the other side is a picture of the new home they just bought.
That's pretty cool. So, and I love these examples because at the end of the day, when it comes to the use of promotional materials in marketing, like you do need to be unique. You need to have something that makes you stand out. Now, that's for just giving away things randomly, right? Like at a trade show, or when you've gotten a new client, or if just it's in your office for people to take, that type of thing. Now, let's talk about corporate gifting, right? You got the holiday times. It is not uncommon to send like promotional materials or like little gift box or whatever to clients or anybody or prospects. So how can people utilize promotional materials in their either cold outreach via, like, we'll say, mailing campaigns, or for thanking their clients and keeping top of mind with them? Do you have any ideas and suggestions on?
Oh, sure, especially with the holidays. That's one of the things that I've been promoting among my folks, my BNI folks, as well as other businesses, is give something that your customer can actually use. And I use an example. I've got a local realtor who was my realtor when we moved here. And every year they send me one of these little calendar things that honestly it ends up in a in the trash. It ends up in a landfill. What I encourage my customers to do is give away something that your customer is actually going to use, for two reasons. Number one is that the customer will feel beholden to them. Most people, there have been some studies done by the Ad Specialty Institute that prove that, someone who has received a promotional item is 54% more likely to do business with you than someone who has not, than with another company who has not been provided you with an item that you use every day. And so it's like that partnering when we talked about give the customer what they need instead of what they want. It's my talking with my clients and saying, give your customers, give your prospects something that they need, want, and will use, something that they will feel thankful for and somewhat beholden to you for getting. One of the things, I've got an electrician locally right now, and I happened to go to an event where Subaru was giving away this really cool light, which I don't have on me. I normally have it in my pocket, but I don't have it because my customer has it at the moment, so that he could share that and get input. But it's a magnetic LED light, super bright, super useful. And he said, well, why would I give my customer these lights? He said, first of all, it's got a magnet on the back. I said, okay. So that magnet goes on the refrigerator. It's a rechargeable light. They always have your name there. So if the lights go off, they're going to think of you, because they're going to grab that light, turn it on, and all of a sudden you've saved their day, because now they can see, but also now they know that they need to call you.
Yeah. You need to give them two, though, so they can use the other light to shine on the actual product.
There you go.
So you can call them.
But you were talking about plumbers earlier too, and anybody who you would call in an emergency, they would be smart to do chip clips, something that is a magnet on the refrigerator that earns its space on the refrigerator, as opposed to just a flat thing, or like I say, a calendar, which is going to outdate itself. It's gone in a year anyway, either way, and either way it ends up in the trash. And how many people really use a paper calendar these days? There aren't a whole lot.
Well, and now there's another component kind of that I like to think about. So let's say in the case of a trade show, I've done quite a few trade shows in my life, and the one thing that you always notice, which booths are giving away the goodies.
Yep.
Right.
They're always crowded. Yep.
A pen, okay, you get a 1,000 pens when you go to a trade show. You get some magnets, whatever, maybe some clips, and that kind of stuff. But it's people that give away hats, shirts, that kind of stuff. Those are the real MVPs, right? They're the ones that garner the most attention, and everybody's like, "Oh, where'd you get that hat?" Or "Where'd you get it?" And then guess what they're doing? They're going to visit your booth. Now, what would you say? Let's say in a trade show capacity, what would you be some of the most unique or some of the most, witty promotional materials that you've done for people going to a trade show?
Preloaded thumb drives for a tech company that had an interface they wanted to put in the hands of their customers. And so give them a preloaded thumb drive that its space exceeds what the customer wants to put, or what the giver wants to put on it, so that it's something that's useful. So now it's imprinted with that company's name, and they're using it every day. And oh yeah, wait a minute, I can install this now too. So that's one thing. Another thing that people are using. They just recently had an order for hand warmers that also doubled as a rechargeable power source for your phone. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. Anything rechargeable, what's really big right now is anything that is sustainable. So anything that can be reused, and doesn't cause a problem for the environment. Tote bags, especially today, we've got more and more states and municipalities doing away with plastic bags. But if you can get a tote bag that's actually cool, one that has zippers, maybe a holder for your water bottle, ones that fold up in a specific way, so that they're easily accessible. I mean, you go to Costco, you go to Aldi's, you go to and a number of stores are just more and more of them on their own, without being legislated, are doing away with shopping bags. And so those have become really popular. And again, depending on the community you're in, if you're in a pedestrian community, or if you're in a community that has decent modes of transportation, bus lines, subways, that type of thing, now your name is being spread all over because it's useful to the person that's got it in their
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, I know we take tote bags. So if there's like nice, sturdy, big ones, we take them all the time to the beach and all kinds of other places here in Florida. And yeah, of course, yeah, you're right. We're just advertising somebody random. We don't even think about it either. You know, it's
And
just useful as utility.
right, and one thing, it's a few extra bucks, but thermal tote bags, people don't think about that if they're going to the store and they want to get some frozen goods, and they're taking a tote bag. My wife is absolutely enamored with some UPS tote bags that I picked up at a trade show one time, and so and again, that was one of those cases in which everybody was flocking around to grab this tote bags. At a trade show especially, if you've got the coolest tote bag, your name is going to be all over that floor.
Well, yeah, because everyone's using that bag to carry all the rest of their stuff.
Exactly.
No, see, these are all great points, and it's just about being thoughtful and providing utility. I think so. Like the best promotional materials will actually provide real utility. If it's something that you're gonna throw into the back of a drawer or into the trash because you have no use for it, why would you want to print that or use that, right? So people, be intentional. So for the audience, you're going to a trade show, be intentional, provide utility, and make it something that someone's going to keep and want to keep. Then you'll have a lot more success with that item.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like that.
Yeah, and definitely just get an idea. Talk to Mark. Mark has the experience, so you haven't. If you need some ideas in your company, and you're talking to a guy like Mark or your provider, they have the experience, so rely on them. That's why they're not only going to produce it for you, but ask them for their experience. Hey, how does this work? What was the previous person's reaction when they did this? What did it work for them? Do you have maybe a better idea? Can you suggest something? Create that conversation with your manufacturer. Hopefully it's Mark.
So here's you asked about unique things, aside from tote bags. Another thing I talked about having space for a water bottle. This is a water bottle that you can get that actually has a code on the back that allows a person, if they're a mindful person and they're looking to reduce that plastic that's in the landfill, every time they fill this, they scan this, and what it does is it actually will sit there and count how many bottles you've kept out of a landfill. And it's for a company, they can set it up so that everyone gets their own individual account, and so now you can have contests between people to see who's having the most refills and not buying water bottles and things like that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just these unique things. And the fun thing, I love our own trade shows for our industry, for promotional products, because you walk around and you're finding what you put in your bag, but you're also watching what everybody else is taking. And so that helps to inform you about how to guide your customers as to what the hot products are.
Oh, that's true. 100% true on that end of it. Now, we're getting to the end here, unfortunately. I know we could talk forever, but we are approaching the hour marks. Uh, you know, this is the time that I like to allow all of our guests to have a shameless plug. Okay. So that's what we call it. And going with that BNI model, we always like to say, who's your ideal client? How can they get in touch with you? And then give them like your website, phone number, whatever it is that you want them to interact with to be able to reach out to you. So I'll let you take it away, Mark, and let us know, how can people work with you, and how, what's the best way of getting in touch?
Best way of getting in touch is by email. It's mheise@yellowspringer.com. It's yellow like the color, Springer like in Jerry. We have my ideal customer is anyone looking for a side hustle. My ideal customer is that company, especially during the holidays. What I'm looking for right now, since we're approaching the holidays, you're going to be having some family gatherings. If you have someone that you hear is starting a new business, I'd love to talk to them. I'd like to help them get started and help them promote their company. And so those are the people that we're looking for, are those new businesses. And if you give us the name of a new business, if we can find their logo, we'll make a contact and we'll send them something with their logo on it, and let them know that you're the person who gave us that information, so they can thank you for what they got for free.
And how can people reach out to you now?
They can reach out using our email address, as I said,
Okay,
mheise
the email. Okay.
at
Or
yellowspringer.com,
website?
or you can go to yellowspringer.com
Yellowspringer.com.
and find us there. Other than that, I mean, we're just getting into the holidays ourselves now, and folks are very hurriedly coming to us with short timetables to get stuff for Christmas. I like to remind people it's you're now less than 45 days away from Christmas. We can still deliver for you if you're looking for something to give your customers or even your family. Anything from, as you say, thousands of pens to that mug for grandma with your kids drawing on it. We can make that happen.
Awesome.
Very good. Very good.
Well, Mark, we thank you for your time. You're a great guest. You got a wealth of knowledge. I love your stories and and the samples and the different use cases that you've talked about for your different clients. Hopefully, people get some inspiration and some ideas on how they can incorporate promotional items and gifts and things like that into their daily business as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Thank you for the opportunity. I enjoyed our time together.
Thank
you,
you.
Mark.
Absolutely. It's such a, again, like Dmitriy said, but it's an absolute pleasure to hear, something that we in digital marketing, a lot of people just don't think about, is
Yeah.
there is a reason why these things still ring true. There is a place for them in your marketing, in your campaigns. Be mindful of them, be wary, and try to be original. Have fun with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again, Mark. Stick around after if you can for a few minutes, and we'll be in touch. And if anybody needs any promotional materials, anything, reach out to Mark. Like he said, even one piece is doable with him. So make sure you reach out. He's definitely a 100% approachable guy. Super friendly, super awesome, and very knowledgeable. So he'll steer you in the right direction. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. And
Thank you.
we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. Thanks for coming on board and watching our video. If you've enjoyed the journey, follow the podcast and don't miss out what's coming ahead. If this has helped you navigate the marketing and sales waters, be sure to drop us a review as it helps us find more like-minded people. And until next time, here's to smooth sailing.